I mean, the process is pretty easy, I think. And again, this is coming from somebody who had never done podcasts before. But so you're looking at GarageBand. When you open it up, none of this stuff is here. But each of these is just an audio file. And so what I do when you open it up, you can get started right away. Just click this red button to record, and I'll do it right now so you can see. It's going to record. It's going to show you, hey, I'm recording this little segment down here.
Right.
Stop it whenever you want to stop it, and then you just drag and drop it and move it around. Let me.
Right.
So now I have this audio file. I can put it wherever I want to. And the way that I have been doing this podcast, it's basically, so it's a daily weekday podcast. I do it Monday through Friday.
Right.
It's typically anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes. I try to keep it brief. The idea was, for people who don't have an hour to listen to a podcast, but they want to know what's happening in their community, and maybe they're not on our website every single day to read every article that we post.
Right.
The idea was, let me summarize our articles, everything that we've published in the last 24 hours, and do it in a way that people can digest it, however differently than a typical website reader would do.
Right. Now, can I ask you a quick question, actually? But before you go on with this, I want to come back to the production process, but can you just show us how they get to an episode? Like, they go to henricocitizen.com, and then you usually post an article, right?
That's right. So let me...
I just want to see the actual podcast interface, because we have, looks like Nick does a weekly audio podcast. So, Nick, let us know what platform you're using. I think we both use Buzzsprout for that. Be interested to know what you use, but it looks like everyone else is just getting started. Okay, so this is the interface. Okay.
Yeah, we use Buzzsprout, and I find it very easy. I'm sure there are other sites that do it very similarly, but it's like $12 a month. Very easy to just log in, and I'll show you over here. This is my backend section. You literally just click this button. It'll let you upload your file, and then you're good to go. And then they appear here. And what I do is I then embed them on our site. So, people can just go to our site. It's embedded there. We're getting the direct traffic, the benefits of that. Just makes the whole process a lot easier. They have a setup here where you can, very easily click on any of these to get listed on all of these different platforms. They've kind of made it simple. You don't have to know anything about really what you're doing, and they kind of do it for you. So that's been very nice. Yeah, and the listing takes anywhere from like a day to maybe a week at most, and then you're on all these major platforms. Which has been great for us. So
gotcha.
Yeah, so they're all archived. You can what we do is every morning we send out an email to our subscriber base saying, here's the new News Minute. Click to listen. So there's that direct piece. Of course, we're posting it on Facebook and Twitter. Just however we can, however we can reach folks.
Gotcha.
And I would say we've developed a nice core group of listeners who every day are tuning in. Some days there's more, some days a little bit less, but that core group is there consistently. And it's not thousands of people, but it's a couple hundred. And to me, that makes
listening every day.
Yeah. And so, I think to me that makes it feel worthwhile.
Right.
If it were 10, maybe I feel a little different, but you have to start somewhere. It's grown a little bit, and you plateau, and then I think you kind of figure out sort of, what your base group of listeners it looks like.
Right.
So,
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. I can get into kind of how I do it again if you're ready for that, or.
Yeah, I think I do want to see that, but I also just want to give people a feel for what it actually sounds like. So let's do a quick demonstration here. This is a really cool feature. I can go to Siri and just ask to play it. Now watch this. Play the Henrico News Minute. Okay. So you've got this cool radio intro. Since 2001, this is the Henrico. So let's break down this I don't know, the structure a little bit here. If you want to share your screen again and just show us in GarageBand in a recent episode, just play a little bit of it. This will kind of see both at once. So
Yeah.
first of
So
all, you got a couple tracks in GarageBand here, right?
that's right. So over here, you've got every different track basically, and I can delete this. I can add a new one. And GarageBand, the nice thing is that it's connected automatically to iTunes. So any audio that you have in your iTunes on your computer automatically is going to appear over here. So this is the list of every audio file that I've got in my iTunes. You just click up here on audio,
right.
click on media, click on music, and now it's going to show me everything that I've got here. So
Okay.
what I've done is, different advertisers that I've got, I'll individually record their 15 or 30-second ad,
Okay.
export it, and I'll show you how to do that in a second, and then import it to iTunes, and then it shows up here. So anytime I want to use an ad for this company, let's say B&W Builders, I just
Right.
click it, I drag it over here, and I drop it.
Right.
And now I've got this audio file, and I put it wherever I want to. And so basically, this marker, you're starting on the left-hand side, of course. When I push play, anything vertically is going to play. So the first thing it's going to come to is my opener here.
Right.
I'll play.
From the Lakeside Newsroom of the Henrico Citizen.
Right. And so then, wherever I position anything else it's going to play that. So these tracks here is just kind of like the background,
like music
that I've got, and over here is the volume. I keep the volume low on that because I don't want it drowning out, what I'm saying, but I want people to still hear it. It's a little upbeat. It, gives them a sense that this is not going to go on for 50 minutes.
Right. Yeah,
then,
I think it's a good format for that.
Yeah, and then these are just little transitional pieces that I have kind of like a swooshing sound. So between each article or each story that I'm reading, I just insert little things. So basically, it's just a drag and drop situation. So here's my first piece of audio. This is my intro that I am telling folks, what the top stories are today.
Right.
And I've got this little intro. Then here's my top story.
Right.
Another slider. And with this little slider here, you can zoom in or zoom out. So sometimes you want to be precise. I want to know exactly where this ends. I'm going to line it up exactly. And then I can pull back if I want to move a bunch of things around more easily.
Right.
What I do is a combination of, sometimes if I have a short article that we posted on our site, I'll read the whole article. I just record it. It becomes a segment like this. I plop it where I want it, and I'm done. Sometimes the article may be a little longer, and then I'm just kind of summarizing part of it. And I like the fact that you can do that because, I don't think in this format, I don't want to just read every article verbatim. I want to give people sort of, I kind of look at this as, a top of the hour news update like you would hear on the radio, except it's a little bit extended and it's more specific just to our locality.
Right.
Again, I really like this program because you can do things like, let's say I recorded this segment, but I don't want to use, I screwed something up here at the end. So I'm going to zoom in.
Yep.
I'm going to take this and I'm just going to drag it back here. And now you only hear up to this part. And now I can restart again. I can move my marker here, and I would do this somewhere else. But if I wanted to record it right there,
to read. Okay.
I place my marker and I just hit record again, and now it's going to start recording from that point on. So it's very, it's very intuitive. It's very simple. A lot of times when I'm doing this, I'll screw something up halfway through a story. So I'll keep the part that was good, cut it, and then just add the other part. And then you can just highlight the parts that you want. If I wanted to connect all these, come up here, join regions, create it, and now it's made it one singular file that I can drop and drag anywhere I want.
Right.
So a lot of, I don't want to do that, but it's just very easy. And then at the end of it, I figure out the order that I want. So I may record the articles or the stories in any different format, but then I'm physically dragging and dropping to kind of place them where I want them to be.
Right. And I want to get into that exactly, like how you do create like this unique experience. Because like you said, you're not going to just read the articles verbatim. So let me just actually switch back to my screen for a second, because I have a little presentation here, and I just want to make sure I hit all these points. Okay, so now, and also we had some questions, so I want to hit those, but we talked about a bunch of these things already. But the question was, let's see, what was the name of the company that you paid $12 to? So I answered it to everyone, but that's Buzzsprout.
Buzzsprout,
right?
yeah. And again,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of companies that host podcasts, and I think they're probably fairly similar. This was, of the few that I analyzed, the easiest. For somebody like me who didn't know what I was doing at the beginning, it's literally
Right.
just, you drag your file, you drop it in,
Right.
gives you a place to post the description, and then it's there. And they've made the process very easy. I have
Right.
found.
Yep. No, that's pretty much seems like one of the only names in town. I mean, there's also this Anchor app where I think it's actually like more based around an app functionality. So if you weren't editing on GarageBand, but if you were just recording on your phone, that would work. But since you're on GarageBand, I think you want that desktop interface to upload stuff. But yeah, we use Buzzsprout too. It's fantastic. So the thing I want to point out, I didn't really explain this earlier, but any voice activated device, when you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, like Siri, for example, can call up the radio. And I know that you promote this very heavily. I see it in every newsletter, I think, pretty much, with the podcast, which is great. We need to start doing that. Do they tell you, is there any way to get a number of like how many people are actually doing that to listen? That would be really cool metric.
I don't know. I haven't looked at that specific of a metric yet. I know Buzzsprout keeps pretty good recording stats as to who heard it on, Google Podcasts or who heard it on iTunes or that sort of thing. But
Right.
I don't know that it says like how many people asked Alexa to play, the Henrico News Minute.
Right.
I do that sometimes in my own house. Hey, Alexa, play it, just to see, to make sure it's still there. But it makes it very convenient for people.
Yep.
And you feel like you've got something that's out there to the world because it is.
Yep. It's super cutting edge. I mean, to be able to do that voice activated thing just makes it way cooler to be an advertiser on it. So now let's check this out for a second. I want to just listen to like the first few minutes or minute or so of this episode, because it seems like your structure is basically to have this canned music intro, where the guy introduces the podcast and then you do your overview and then an ad. Is that fair structure?
Yeah, that's how I've done it. And I don't know if I've done 230 of these now, so maybe it's getting a little stale to hear the same thing, the same intro every day. I don't know. I guess probably at some point I'll mix it up. But
you can always mix it up. Sure.
Yeah. I think it gave it, I thought, a little more of a professional feel. And honestly, I paid like $30 to get that professional voiceover.
Right. Right. So, okay, I want to play this through a little bit more. I didn't really let much of it play when it was on my phone because I wasn't sure how good it sounded, but I think this usually sounds pretty good. And while it's playing, please drop your questions in and I'll be watching them. I'm going to try to catch up on those.
From the Lakeside newsroom of the Henrico Citizen, your hometown news source since 2001. This is the Henrico News Minute with publisher Tom Lappas.
Some good news on the unemployment front in Henrico and where you can go in the county to get rapid COVID-19 tests. We'll have details in today's Henrico News Minute for Thursday, October 29th, 2020. It's brought to you today by the Steve Dowdy Insurance Agency with State Farm.
And now for the news.
Okay, so that was a couple things there that I just want to point out. I mean, just to bring up your screenshot again. So you've got these breaks that are the female, and I think that's cool to have a different voice in there every once in a while.
Yeah, and and again, there's a ton of sites where you can buy just individual audio snippets, and that's where I got that. I think from a site called soundsnap.com.
So easy, right? It's just a download away, most of this stuff.
they've got thousands, and honestly, there's a ton that actually that come with GarageBand too. So
right.
you may not even have to spend any money to do it.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you can do this whole thing very inexpensively, and I found without a giant time commitment,
right.
which has been very important to me. I'm basically a one person. I'm the only full time person right now in my company. So
right.
For me, it didn't make it wouldn't make sense to do something that was going to take me 5 hours a day because it's But I wanted to have something that I could do daily, that I could fit into my schedule, that made sense. It's going to reach a different audience. And was relatively simple.
For sure. I got to ask this, because for me, this is the first practical question, and I feel like it's on a lot of people's minds, is like, how much time does it actually take you to do a 5 to 8 minute episode is what the final product is, right?
Yeah. That's typically, well, I mean, and now I've been doing it, like I said, 230 episodes, so I've kind of got it down. But what I try to do, honestly, these days, because I'm working from home, is at the end of the night, I'll come up after my kids are asleep and look at everything that we've published that day, which typically is 5 to 8 pieces. Some original, some press release rewrites or whatever. But and I'll just sit down and hammer them out, record them. That takes maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes at most. Just that minor editing to get everything lined up right, figure out where I want to put something, record the intro, drag and drop the sponsor at the end. And then you just export it. It becomes a file. Then I go to Buzzsprout. I upload the file. I type in like a little description of all the stories that are there.
Right.
So that people go.
That goes here.
Exactly. Yes. So just, a paragraph or so about everything that's in there.
This is great. Then you got the link back to this contribute page.
Yeah. And I link to our advertiser, and then, and then you can schedule it. So, I schedule it for the next day at whatever time, 5 a.m. or whatever. And that way, from my perspective, I know that I don't have to rush up and do it in the morning first thing. It's done.
Right.
I don't have to think about it. There are some mornings that I just don't get a chance to do it at night, so I do it in the morning.
Gotcha.
I would say yeah, I mean, most of the time, start to finish, maybe between 30 minutes and 45 minutes for me. Now, if you're just starting, maybe it's going to take you an hour or so, but I have found it to be not too difficult. Now, the other thing that I do is then I'll go to our website and create an article, and embed the link in that. So it's a process there.
Right. And I wanted to show that, but I mean, I think once you basically get this template, though, you've got the music in the background. You can just mute that channel while you're recording the new episode, and then just copy these breaks and move them around. So like once you have this basic template of the 4 tracks, I think the turnaround probably goes much faster. But the first time you do it, it's going to take some time. Like in the beginning, how long would you spend on it? Like over an hour, probably, right?
Probably about an hour, just because it was new. But even then, it wasn't that. I probably thought it might take a little longer. After I did a couple episodes, I kind of felt like, okay, I think I got the swing of this. But like you said, the template pretty much stays. All I have to do is drag the transitional pieces, because the audio is going to be different. I'll just delete that top row of audio, drag the marker over to the right, and start recording, and then
Right. Okay, very cool. And I just want to demonstrate. So you take embed code and put it on every individual article to create this?
Yeah, and the nice thing about Buzzsprout is it's just a one-click thing. There's a button, there's a line that says click here to embed this one episode. You click, it gives you the code, and you just plop the code in on the back end, and it's there. So you don't have to think about it.
This is nice, for sure. So I like having it on each individual article just to, get it to as many people as possible. Then it's something you can send out in the newsletter. That's like, a unit. It's an article. But one thing that I've seen elsewhere, I just want to show you, the Acorn. What they do is they have a playlist. Are you aware that that's possible?
I have not looked into that, but I think there's a bunch of different things, that you can do. That's a nice look.
It looks cool. Yeah. I mean, they have a really long right column, but if you have room on the right column here, you know, I would say put it anywhere up towards the top, and then you're promoting it 20, you know, every day of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea.
We could try that. So cool. All right. Well, that's part of what these conferences are about, to share ideas with the presenter. So, okay. I don't think I have many other questions right now. Anything else that you want to show before I talk a little bit about audio articles?
No, I don't think that's, you know, I guess the only other thing would be the you know, the monetary aspect of it.
Right.
You know, and initially I started this not really thinking of money. I was just thinking of another way that we can reach people, and hopefully that at some point would turn into, you know, a monetization opportunity. But,
Right.
you know, we now sell 3 levels of sponsorship. So there's the title sponsorship, and I sell them all on a monthly basis. So you commit to a month. I don't want to be having to figure out on Tuesday this ad runs and Thursday, you know,
Right.
that'd be a little too much to keep track of. So we sell them monthly. I think our rates are like $150 for the low level, $450 for the mid level, and $750 for the top sponsorship level. And primarily the difference there is, you know, the top sponsor gets like a 30-second spot and gets named at the beginning. The others, the low level, just gets a mention, and then the other one gets like a 15-second spot. So, you know, I tried to keep it simple because we're small and because I don't have the manpower to be, you know, fitting in 10 different ads or anything like that. But, you know, we've had a county agency come to us. They reserved the mid-level for 2 months, and ran that in the, you know, within the last 4 months total.
Right.
And we've got a nonprofit who's running the mid-level one next month, starting on Monday. So, and these are people who just have been listening to it and you know, liked it.
Right.
And I think I like having it as an option because you may have an advertiser who's used to doing radio spots, and now you have a way to do that for them. Or you may have advertisers that have never heard a spoken ad, an audio ad, and they really like how it sounds. It just presents their business in a different way, you know. So I think there's certainly potential there to grow a podcast and, you know, have it pay off for you. Right.
And that, at the end of the day, that's what we're all looking for. So I just want to clarify something. You talked about the different levels. Are you just selling the podcast alone, or do those levels come with other digital products?
Well, we kind of revamped everything a month or two ago, and now we sell everything. We show everything separately. I mean, I'll package something together if somebody wants a web ad and a podcast ad, but we price them all separately now.
Gotcha.
So that they're all kind of their own thing. And, you know, typically if somebody's going to buy multiple platforms, then we'll give them a discount. But this way, in our media kit, it makes it much easier. You know that if you want to be on the podcast, this is what it looks like. Right. Gotcha. I guess I would say we do it. So we do a daily email. We do 2 daily emails, one just for the podcast, and then one that links to, you know, whatever articles we've written in the past 24 hours. So our podcast sponsors do get an ad on that podcast email, which is a second level of exposure for them. Right, for sure. Yep. No, I love the way that you've gotten creative with your digital advertising. You've just pretty much migrated that whole advertising audience to this new plan that you know, they can either buy in bundles or one-off, I guess. So that's very cool. Please, anyone, if you have any questions about pricing or how he sells this, how he pitches this, let us know.